All right, all right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another Monday Momentum where I'm here to share a good word with you to start your week off right. Today, we're going to talk about how to have confidence in meetings with really important people. Listen, y'all, what I teach my students is really important, right? Sorry, I had to mute my phone. What I teach my students is really important. Is two things as it relates to having confidence. It's two things that you need to make sure that you do when it comes to having confidence, right? One is knowing what is expected of you. It's hard to have confidence when you don't know what people want or what you're trying to get, what you're trying to gain, what's the outcome that you're looking for. And so if you don't have the expectation, it's really, really hard to have confidence. Like, think about it. Like, in times where like you might have had a parent or a friend or something ask something of you, and you already knew exactly what it was, when it was due, or if you already done it, the confidence in your response is going to be super high, right? So think about it, like your parent is like, "Hey, did you wash the dishes?" When you did it or you have a plan, you're like, "Absolutely." Right? But if you forgot, that's where you lower your confidence and it shows in your response. You'd be like, right? We don't want that. We don't want that in meetings with really important people who have the opportunity to change your life, who want the opportunity to change your life. And so I need you to be thinking about, how do you prepare for the really important meeting so you can know the expectation. So I got some stuff that I'm going to give you for that. The second thing that you need to know as it relates to building your confidence is about practice. Listen, y'all, one of the most important things that I need you to know is that you got to put reps in. Like, I'm a speaker. At the end of the day, I only get better the more I speak in front of people. You got to get reps in. You got to be practiced, right? You got to be in the speaker gym if you want to be a speaker. Just like if you want to be a bodybuilder, right? If you want to, get some tone on your muscles, right? If you want to build strength, you got to put reps up. It's the same thing when you're talking about being in important meetings with really important people. You got to put reps up. Like, this is the part of the journey that you can't just make no excuses for. Like, at the end of the day, we can tell, people can tell when you put practice in. I want you to be showing up in a way where you're not rehearsed, like my coach says, right? You're not rehearsed, but you know your work well enough to be able to think deeper about how do you impact people with the script, but the context might be different than what you practice. And so the environment around you. And so it's two things, again, that helps you be confident in meetings with really important people is, one, knowing what is expected of you. Two, practice. And that's practice in front of people. That's practicing in front of a mirror. That's practicing by yourself. That might be writing it down in your head and then reading it off, trying to figure out different ways in which that you can get your voice and your tone to show that confidence. But you need to make sure that you have the confidence tone in your voice. And that's by knowing what's expected of you in practice. And so, have you ever been in a meeting and froze up? Like, you was in an interview and you knew the exact words to say, but it just didn't come out in the way that you thought it would. That's because, again, expectation and practice. And so I'm going to give you some things that I want you to think about as it relates to preparing for important meetings with important people so that you can show the confidence that you are meant to be in the room. And so, first, let me set the stage for you a little bit. Listen, we've all been sitting in a meeting across from an interviewer, across from somebody really important, and we've had that moment where it's like, I want to say something really, really profound. I want to say something that's really, really important, but it just doesn't come out the way that we want it to. Or you might not say anything at all because you don't want to overstep your bounds, or you thinking that maybe it's not your moment. But I need you to know that the reason why you're in that room is because somebody values you. Like, you need to take every opportunity, but the opportunity only lasts in the lifetime of the opportunity. And so if you in a meeting and you only got 30 minutes to impact somebody's life, and you talking about whatever important topic it is, and you got a lot of people in that meeting, it's really important for you to think deep about how do you add value before you get to the meeting. It's not about being in the meeting and being in the moment. It's about prepping for the meeting. And so who's going to be in the room? What are the topics that you're going to talk about? Is there an agenda that you can do some research on? Are you thinking deeper about the outcomes or the value of the organization or the community or the reason why people are meeting? These are really important things that you got to think about before you go to the meeting, not while you're there. Because again, the reason why people wanted you in the meeting is because you did something before the meeting that caused for people to want to have you in the meeting, right? And so they see you as a value add. You don't have to be an imposter, right? You don't have to doubt yourself. You don't have to be confused about why you're there. You're there because you're a value add. And so do the same thing that you did before the meeting that somebody called you into the meeting for, right? And so I remember my opportunity, my shot to be able to take my career to the next level. And it started with just volunteering. But if I wasn't in the room, I would have never got the opportunity to volunteer. And so for you, what is the reason why somebody has you in the room? They see you as a value add. And so make sure that you take it to the next level. And here's a couple things that you can do to make sure that you do that. Right? And so, like, how you can speak up. First, write down 2 to 3 really key points that is something that is going to be talked about, but maybe the person hasn't brought it up yet, or maybe some insights that hasn't been discussed yet. That's your moment. Like, when that's like, all right, before we go to the next bullet point, before we go to the next conversation, here's how you add value. Hey, you want to literally say this. Hey, so I love everything that I heard, and I think that y'all covered a lot of the bases. Here's one thing that I thought about as we were having this discussion. Here's the thing. I wonder what would this situation or this experience be like had we considered this thing. Literally can be a life changer. It literally could be an opportunity changer for you, right? Literally could be an opportunity creator for you by just stopping us in a moment and realizing something that we haven't covered, realizing something that we haven't discussed. That can be all the difference in helping you become the person that is a value add and building your confidence in that community. Right? And so also, when I say that, I also think it's important for you to write that 2 to 3 points down, or the 2 to 3 questions down, so that you're not just coming up with it off the top of your head, but you really taking the time to be deliberate about every single word that you use. Because again, for me, I've learned this, and I teach my students this, is one of my friends say this all the time, is words create worlds. And so using the right words really helps people see that you're prepared, see that you're ready, and literally they want to come to you now asking deeper questions because they know that you have a process of intentionality when it comes to looking at data, information, scenarios, etc. Right? Here's another method that I want you to use. It's the P.R.E.P method, right? And so P.R.E.P. So P stands for the point. So you want to state your main point. Whatever it is, immediately state your main point. The second thing is the R stands for reason, right? So explain why this thing matters, right? And so I want to share this point before we go to our next agenda, because it's going to help us increase more student activity, right? Or have more participation, or have more event satisfaction. Like, these are the things that you can use to be able to kind of help say why you're saying these things. Does this make sense? I hope that this makes sense, right? The next thing I want you to do is E. So give an example. So share a quick, hey, last time I tried this thing during this event, it really helped increase the satisfaction, and these were the outcomes. That gives people more confidence in your reasoning, which then gives you more confidence, right? Because now you're like, wow, what I said, people actually was feeling me. People actually was liking it. And so how can I give more of that? That's also a part of the journey, right? I want to also make sure that I mention that I wanted to turn my light down a little bit. So the E, right, is example. The P is for point. I don't like that. Okay, here we go. So the P is for point. So reinforce your idea. And so you reinforce your idea by giving just a little bit of the insights to what the future might hold for the situation that people might be in. And so, like, how do you reinforce it? So you say, all right, if we do this, we'll increase our event satisfaction. By increasing our satisfaction, I've seen these things happen. By seeing these things happen, I believe that we can recreate that type of experience in this community. Boom. Right? What's the possibilities? Oh, well, if we increase satisfaction within this community, we'll get more people to retain into our community. We get more people retained, we get more members in our community. When we have more members, we get more buzz in the community, right? Like, you get a chance to expound deeper on the ideals that you have. And I just want you to see that, like, all you need to do is just use your voice, because again, you wouldn't be invited to rooms that people didn't see you as a value add to, right? Like, people would not take the time to make sure that you are there if you weren't already doing something special, if you weren't already a special leader, if you were already amazing. And so you are amazing. And so people need to know that. Like, people need to feel that in your presence. Don't let the opportunity pass you by, because that's literally the lifetime of an opportunity only lasts. The opportunity of a lifetime only lasts in the lifetime of the opportunity, right? The opportunity of a lifetime only lasts in the lifetime of the opportunity. And so if you only got an hour, I'm not saying you got to take up all the time in the world for that meeting. I'm not telling that you got to be taking up all the space and have all the voice, right? But don't leave there having only people experience you as silent. Like, that's not going to get the community anywhere, and it's for sure not going to get you anywhere. I hope this is making sense. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. I'm monitoring, right? It's about having confidence, and I want you to go into every meeting. I want you to go into every interview with just the abundance of confidence that lets people know that you are the right person to be in that situation, in that job, in that community, in that role, right? I want you to have that. I want that to be your reality in every single space that you go to. And so you got to make sure that you're using your voice, right? Another strategy that you can use is ask a really powerful question. Like, that is, sometimes we don't need to have the smartest statement to have the biggest impact in the community. Sometimes asking a really powerful question can get people moving, can get communities thinking deeper, can get us to analyze data on a different level, can get us to look at our behavior on a different level. Like, I'm going to be real with you. Sometimes just asking the question, how can we do this more efficiently? How can we do this more effectively? How can we get the voices of the students involved into this situation? How can we get more organized? What are ways in which that we can help our community grow in a more succinct and communicating manner? These are all really important questions that need to be answered. But oftentimes we are so in the muck of doing the work that sometimes we just miss how do we stay organized, or how do we assign roles, or how can we make sure that there's an agenda? How can we make sure there's a clear timeline? Like, something is always missed when we're planning stuff. And so sometimes you don't need to say, well, you missed this or you missed that, because again, that could come off as antagonizing, and I don't want that for you. But what you can do is ask a really powerful question like, hey, this is great. I really appreciate all the work that everybody did to put this thing together. I just got a quick question. How can we incorporate the voices of our students into the planning of this event? If you ask that question in that way, again, you got to preface it like, I'm thankful, you did a great job. How can we incorporate the voices of our students into this event? If you do something like that, all that does is just shed more light on the outcome that we all are trying to achieve, the common purpose that we are all going for. A goal for us is to have an amazing event. And so I'm not necessarily pointing out all the things that could go wrong. I'm asking a question about how can we make this go right? That is for sure one of the best strategies that you can use to get people to see that not only are you prepared, you're ready, you're thinking deeper, but you're confident in your abilities, right? And then I would say, even if you could make sure that your posture, like powerful posture, is really important. So like for me, when I'll get on a tangent, I use my hands, and that lets people know that I'm very serious. Like, I'm very into it. Like, I'm thinking deeper about where we're going. What's your posture thing? Again, I'm even like, I'm sitting on a stool, so I'm not even sitting on something where I can lean back. Like, I'm leaning forward because I'm so deep into this conversation with you, and I need you to feel that depth. Every time I get on the mic, every time I stand in front of you, every time I do a live, I want you to feel my energy. I want you to feel that I want you to be successful. And I need you to show up with that same type of energy when you're showing up in meetings with really important people. Like, I don't need you to go back into your shell. That's the time to shine, baby. And so I need you to get up and perk yourself up, right? I need you to be shaking hands, making sure that you're introducing yourself, giving your impact statement. So again, I tell people, I help college students understand their natural gifts and talents so they can articulate them to industry leaders and get a job before graduation, right? Or pursue the job or the career of their dreams. Like, I say that with utmost confidence. And so now my confidence is radiating in the room. People are like, dang, this guy, I don't know what is about this guy, but something about this guy makes me feel like he's serious about this work. I need you to do that every single time. And so, y'all, listen, here's your call to action. I want you to use the PREP framework. So PREP means state your point, name your reason, explain your example, and then reinforce your point with a takeaway or an outcome that will really help this idea have more validity. I need you to do that every single time you are feeling the lack of confidence in a meeting. The P.R.E.P. PREP framework and formula will help you be literally off the charts in value in that community. And so if you got any questions, go ahead, feel free to ask them in the chat before I wrap this thing up. And the challenge is to use the P.R.E.P framework so that you can make sure that you stand out. And I really encourage, the last thing is engagement. Like, confidence does not really feel like silence. It feels like engagement. Confidence feels like we're moving forward. Confidence feels like there's growth and development happening. And so that often cannot happen in silence. And so I need you to engage. I need you to shake hands. I need you to ask questions. I need to get introductions. I need you to really see that every space that you go into is meant for you to grow as a confident leader. Every single place. That's class. That's a student organization. That's maybe your church or religious community, right? That's with your family and your friends. That's with your sport. Every space that you exist in is a confidence building opportunity. And so take advantage of every single space that you exist in. I want you to see that every space that you are in is meant to grow you, meant to develop you. And once you take that approach, you will see each space as something that is very much so different, very much so involved, very much so supportive of everything that you're trying to achieve. Many times the reason why people don't feel confidence is because they don't feel like people belong, or feel like people think that they belong. They even feel like they might be an imposter. And what I need you to know is that once you open your voice, once you use your voice to be able to articulate the thoughts and perspectives that you have, you will see that you actually do belong and you're in the right place, and that everything that your heart desire is coming to you as soon as you use your voice. Because like my grandma said, and it's her birthday today, so happy birthday, happy heavenly birthday to my grandma. A closed mouth don't get fed. So listen, I hope that this helped you build your confidence in meeting with important people. Trust that you have everything that you need to be successful. I'm really, really proud of you. I want to see you at the top. And of course, as always, keep doing the good work.